Welcome back to another Traders Improve podcast. And today we are tackling the question, how do you keep growing your edge forever? And we have seen it many, many times, the difference on how professional traders go about optimizing their strategies versus struggling traders. And that's one thing that we're going to cover today. And I think there's going to be a lot of interesting differences and takeaways for you that you can apply right away. So welcome back, Moritz. Good to talk to you. And I want to give the question to you because I think you have a lot of interesting things here to say. Because when we look at struggling traders, the majority of those struggling traders always go for their win rate, and they always want to optimize the win rate. It seems to be the number one metric for struggling traders. Why is this not always the ideal metric to start with when it comes to optimizing your edge?
Yeah, I mean, everyone who comes into trading has a problem with that's probably one of the biggest problems in trading that you lose 50%, 60%, 70% of your trades, and everyone takes a very long time to accept that fact that your win rate is not going to be ever 100% or 90 or 80 or even 70. Maybe if you're really good, 60, and then depending on your risk reward ratio, right? It's a direct correlation risk reward to win rate. And if we look at very classic trading strategies of really high performers like Ed Koda or Paul Tudor Jones, Peter Druckenmiller, etc. All the greats, Jason Shapiro, who was on the Edgewong podcast, then you can see that they all have win rates around 50% or lower, and their risk reward ratios are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that range. Yeah. And because this is by far the easiest way to make money in the market is to accept that you're going to take losses, but every time you win, you make up for that 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. It's so much easier. And while I'm on that topic, the problem is if you optimize for win rate, then your risk reward is going to go lower. That's just natural. That's totally normal, yeah? And then if you make one mistake, one execution mistake, one time your internet goes down or whatever, and that can completely ruin your profit factor. On the other hand, if you mess up one trade with a low win rate but a really high risk reward, it doesn't really matter that much. It's not going to affect your edge so much, yeah? So you don't need to be 100% performing all the time, and trading becomes way more relaxed and more profitable. Huh?
Yeah, it's fascinating when we talk to Jason Shapiro or Linda Rushke, Tom Basso. They don't even care about their win rate. They don't mention it, but they're really obsessed about the reward to risk ratio. And I think this is so important because optimizing for win rate or trying to improve their win rate is just really difficult at a specific point. Also, it's not even important because, as you said, and as we see when we look at the data from Edgewong users, how do they get better at trading? It's by optimizing other areas of their strategies. So where would you go about, or where would you start when it comes to optimizing a strategy? What would you focus on first?
Firstly, I have to say that you definitely need a sufficient sample size where I like to think in batches of 50 trades. After the first 50 trades that I input into my Edgewonk journal, then I go into the details and I look at, okay, now I can make informed decisions based on a decent sample size. So once I have those 15 trades in, I would go directly to, as you said, my execution. How well do I execute the strategy? That's super important. Maybe I make some entry mistakes, some exit mistakes, some trade management mistakes. You never know. And once I make sure that I can actually execute my strategy properly, then we can go into optimizing something even more interesting. And that to me is the trade management. The trade management approach is super vital because where you can really make the most out of your edge, where you can really grow your edge the most is your take profits and your stop losses and how you manage the trade in between. So, you could always try to add another filter and another filter and another entry condition until you have 500 entry conditions. Then you're going to have one trade per year. And maybe you win that trade every year, so you're on a 100% win rate. Well, it's not going to do much for your edge overall, right? So once you have that basic entry model down, I don't think there's any benefit anymore in going any deeper, looking for this, that, filters. Doesn't make sense. What you really want to look at, you go back over your 50 trades and you look at what would have happened if I had held every trade for 2R, for 3R, for 5R, for example. What would have happened if I had a tighter stop loss on every trade? How would that affect my win rate? And more importantly, my risk reward ratio. What if I had always trailed my stop behind this EMA, that EMA, behind swing highs, lows? Like, you need to be super curious about this stuff because that's really where your edge is. What is the market condition? Which way is the higher time frame trending? There are so many variables that you can test here. And that's why we have the alternative strategies feature in Edgewonk. And it's one of my favorite features. I think I spend 90% of my time there in Edgewonk.
Yep, totally. And that's why I think it's really important to, when you journal your trades, or even if you don't have a journal, at least you take a screenshot of your entry, your exit, and then maybe a few hours after your exit. And then you can come back later after you have your 50 trades, and you can look at the last screenshot a few hours after your exit, and you can see what would have happened if my target would have been 50%, 100%, 200% further away. Would I improve my performance or not? And this is a very, very quick exercise. It doesn't take long. You just go through your trades, even if you don't have Edgewonk. You take an Excel sheet or a piece of paper even, and for each trade, you write down the potential outcome for 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, whatever it is. Maybe a trading stop loss approach. And then after an hour, you have the answer. You don't have to go through another back test. You don't have to test this on demo. It's a very, very quick way to analyze how to improve your performance. And we keep seeing this. The trade or the take profit is almost never optimized for. Traders pick up a system somewhere on the internet. They spend all of their energy on the entry, but they forget completely about the take profit. And that's, I think, where we see so much potential that can even turn we have seen it, a break-even, slightly losing trader we worked with. He spent a few days on testing different ideas on the take profit and suddenly found, okay, if I have a take profit that is 3R instead of 2R, that completely changes my performance. And that is, it brings you away from the system hopping where you always believe, I need a better entry, I need a better signal, a new indicator. You just remain focused on your strategy, and one simple fix can completely, totally change your performance.
Yes. And what I want to say here is that if you have never tried a trailing stop, then I would highly recommend implementing one because, okay, I mean, I've traditionally always been a trend follower and there are a lot of contrarian traders. So, but even if you're a contrarian trader, say you trade reversals on the 5-minute chart, maybe you're trading that reversal with the higher time frame trend. Maybe you're taking a long at the low of day as a contrarian on the intraday, but maybe the 4-hour, the daily are trending up. So you're actually going with the trend on a higher time frame. And if that is the case, then why don't you test what would happen if I take 2 positions? One position I get out at my traditional take profit. The second position, I simply trail it behind the moving average or behind highs and lows and see what that would do to your overall edge, because sometimes you catch these insane outliers where you can make a huge amount of R on, and you never know when those moves are going to come along. They will really bolster your edge, and I think every single strategy could highly benefit from simply looking at that.
Yeah. What we have also seen quite often in the data is that optimizing for a stop loss could be really interesting and could have a lot of untapped potential. We have seen both sides of the spectrum. Traders who use stops that are really far away, they're very conservative with their stop loss, and that drags down your reward to risk ratio, obviously. And then you look at your data and you see the price almost never reaches my stop or doesn't even come close, maybe just halfway towards my stop loss. So you have those this wasted stop space. Pull in the stop a little bit closer and see how that can boost your reward to risk ratio. And moving your stop loss a little bit closer even could have such a big impact on your reward to risk ratio that it completely shifts your expectancy on your system and could turn it around very, very quickly with just a few changes or stops as well. Do you have some ideas on or tips on how to set different stop strategies?
Yeah, I mean, one of the easiest ways to see whether your stops are too wide or too tight is looking at the highest and lowest price, for example, where after you get into the trade and after you get out of the trade, you want to record the highest and the lowest price for the duration of the trade, and then you can quickly see whether your stop losses are way too tight or way too wide. And if they are too wide, then, even only going 25% tighter on your stop could make a huge boost to your overall risk reward. So obviously, if you have not an arbitrary stop, if you have a stop that you set on your chart behind a swing high or a swing low or whatever level you use, then you have to be careful with simply tightening up your stop. But I would highly suggest simply trying it out and see what the results are. Maybe on a demo account, maybe in Edgewonk with the alternative strategies, maybe in your Excel sheet, it doesn't matter. But that's one of the easiest ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you do it with intention and planned, and you record your results, this also gives you way more confidence in your approach. A lot of traders they always have those ideas in their mind that I should use a wider stop or a wider target or whatever. But if you have never backed it up by data, it becomes very hard to actually follow through because you lack the confidence. But if you see in your edge data, exit analysis, for example, that your that the price doesn't move a lot against you during your trade, that's going to give you a very different outlook on your trades because this is backed by data. And this is something that when we did this trader transformation series with Edgewonk, we always said, hey, this is not guesswork. Your trading journal shows you that it's backed by data. And the answer is pretty much always in your data, which is fascinating. So if you lack confidence, getting more data and just spending a few minutes per day on journaling could make such a big difference in your confidence as well. Helps you optimize everything.
Yeah, and not even necessarily having tighter stops. I mean, you can always do that, but also when you see that all your winners, they immediately take off after you get in, and a majority of your losers, they like start meandering around your entry, and then you go into a little bit of drawdown, da da da. Then you can totally change your trade management approach as well. Maybe you say, okay, I want to keep my stops where they are. But what I really want to do is if the trade doesn't immediately take off, then I maybe take off half the position, I tighten up my stop loss, or just get out of the position completely. So having those insights for your trade management approach can also be really, really good.
Totally. Yeah, we just made a video a few weeks back on this trader, and we saw his winners take off right away, and they almost never go against him. And his losers, they fail almost right from the start. And those insights are really, really powerful because it shows you that there is actually a significant difference in how price action behaves on winners and losers. But let's go beyond just the data part. You're also very big on optimizing things outside of your just the chart execution and the data. How would you go about optimizing other things in your trading approach?
Well, if you want consistent results, then you need consistent behavior. And I think that's where most people really have huge trouble following through. Sometimes they do their scan like at this time, sometimes at that time. And then they trade this window, they trade that time window, etc. So I think that consistent behavior is super important when it comes to trading. You have to have a plan, exactly know when are you doing your journaling, when are you doing your pre-market routine, and you keep it the same every single day because only through consistent behavior will you get the consistent results in your trading, and that's how you reach peak performance eventually. And you simply have to experiment a little bit with certain routines. Maybe the workout before your trading session is great. Maybe it's not so great if you do a super intense one because then you're completely gassed. Maybe a little bit of meditation and yoga is way better before your trading session. What you eat, for example, how you sleep. All of that is super important when it comes to overall edge and optimizing your approach to the market. Because trading, after all, it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. That's simply the way it is. And again, you can use the custom tags and edgewonk to optimize your behavior here. See how your trading performance is in the morning, in the afternoon, after you sleep like this, after you sleep like that. Maybe use a sleep tracker with WOP or a Whoop or whatever you want to use. There are a lot of things, little knickknacks that completely influence your ability to execute your strategy properly. And the greatest strategy and the greatest plan in the world is worth nothing if you can't execute it properly.
Yeah, totally. And also, we have talked about this a few times. Also, a podcast with, I think, Kim Ann Curtin brought it up. What goes on in your daily life can really impact your trading performance, obviously. You have stress with your family, at your job, your kids are running around the house. Those are all things that will obviously influence your performance and your mental capacity and psychology. So, looking at this and asking yourself, we have seen it in the data quite often that at specific times performance drops off. So the best way would be for that trader, stop trading at that time when you see that you always make mistakes, you never make money. So optimizing around that is also uh, obviously very, very important. And again, the answer is in the data. It's not guesswork. Very often you see it very, very crystal clear. So optimizing around that is super important as well. Trading in the end is you need to approach it professionally. You're spending your time away from your kids. You're spending your money. You could obviously utilize that for many other things, but you chose trading. So if you do that, treat it professionally so that's not a waste of time. That's, I think, very important also.
Yes. In the end, it's I think disrespectful to your family and to your spouse, to yourself also to spend so much time and money without treating it properly as a business. And that will ultimately affect your long-term perspective on trading as well. It will affect your mental capital. It will affect your self-worth, your confidence, everything. So if you can really maximize the effectiveness and efficiency with how you approach trading, it can only be very good for you.
Totally, 100% agree. Thank you for being here. I think we covered a lot again. We'll be back in a few days with another video. Thank you everyone for watching, and thanks, Moritz, for being here.